Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. We're here to finish up with everyone's favorite, UMass Athletics. We're going to focus a little bit on the B-ball team today. You know, over the break we missed a lot, so good to talk about. One of the bigger stories that we did miss was at the game at St. Louis, Jesse Morgan tore his ACL, which is a huge loss for this team. He's been one of their top scorers all season, really helped be a leader. So it's really a tough loss. Jesse, I'll start with you. Who needs to step up? Who do you think really needs to step up for this team with him being gone? And who do you think maybe will step up more realistically?
Well, Casey, you talked about how Morgan was one of their best scorers, and, we put in a lot of minutes for them, too. It's a real huge loss for the UMass basketball team. I think a guy who's really got to step up is the guy who's replacing him at his guard position, Freddie Riley. I don't think he's going to put up the same kind of points that Morgan did, but I think if he can be more of a defensive presence, that would be a lot more helpful to this UMass team. I mean, they're one of the top scoring teams in the A-10, but they're one of the worst defensively. The team's starting to use Riley in a more defensive role than what they've used for him in the past, and I think if that works out well, it could be really good for the team.
Rob, what do you think?
Well, as we said, Jesse Morgan was a big shooter for UMass, hitting, about 13.4 points per game, so that's a big loss. Freddie will be there. He hits the threes, but I really think, look to Trey Davis, freshman point guard. So traditionally he was going to back up Chaz Williams, but what we've seen them do in a few games is allow Trey to step in there with Chaz and kind of let Trey run the point a little bit and let Chaz get open. I think what we saw from last year to this year is a lot of these A-10 teams, they've watched the video and they know what Chaz Williams is going to do. He's still one of the most, if not the most effective player on the team. But the fact that a lot of these other teams know how to guard him, I like Trey Davis coming in, let him run the point a little bit. We saw that especially at Fordham, especially even the last 2 minutes of the game was a really close game. And they were trusting him, which is big for a freshman to get those big minutes in a really close game. So I'd say, especially at the guard position, look for Trey Davis to step up. And if he does, that'll definitely fill in those 13 points they're missing out from Jesse Morgan.
Yeah, getting a freshman to step up definitely would be good for the team as a whole, too. Give them a little boost to see one of the freshmen maybe step up when one of their leaders went down. So that would be good to see. So we know we got Chaz playing guard. Jesse Morgan's the problem, but we're going to have Freddie Riley there to help back up. We'll have Trey Davis to help back up. One of the problems the B-ball team has been dealing with is their down-low game. Not a lot of big play from the team this year. So now with a guard going down, it becomes even more imperative to help with that down-low game. So, Jesse, who do you think can be a catalyst for this team on the down-low?
Well, I think a guy who can really spark that down-low game for UMass is Caddy Lalane. I mean, never mind the fact he's the tallest guy on the team at 6'9". He also leads in total rebounds and in offensive rebounds. And for a team that plays such a fast game and focuses so much on the offense, having a guy who's already pulled in over 50 offensive boards is really huge, and I think it can provide a lot of help on both sides of the floor down low.
Yeah, Caddy's definitely shown some bright spots, as we've seen during games, but it seems like he hasn't reached his potential. He always shows that he could be one of the better big guys in the A-10, but he just hasn't got there. So maybe we can see some change with him. Rob, who do you see helping out down low?
I think who we've been seeing, and I hope to see more of, is Maxi Esho. He's traditionally been Coach Kellogg's sixth man, and he likes to he's been throwing down a lot of dunks recently. Mm-hmm. High percentage shot, I like it. UMass is, I think, 246th in the nation in field goal percentage. So
right in there.
Yeah, just towards the top. So definitely seeing a lot of those big guys step up towards the basket, hitting those high percentage shots is what we need to see. I know, Putney hasn't been where he was last year. He likes to step out and drain his rainbow three, but that hasn't been going down. So you hope to see those bigger guys. Putney, I think he's like 6'10". Samson Carter, who, if you remember in that first game on ESPN, he hit the game-winning three. You want to see those guys, the bigger guys, step in, get the rebounds, and just putting up nice layups, easy shots, get the field goal percentage up, and stop giving away the ball. And I think traditionally the past few years we've seen UMass go for the three all day. They live and die by the three. But if they can drag down those rebounds with Caddy, Maxi, Putney, and just put a few back, on the offensive end, that's definitely put them against those top A-10 opponents.
Yeah, they really have lived and died by a three over the past couple years. And, to lose one of your best three-point shooters in Jesse Morgan and to be 246th in the nation in field goal percentage, maybe it's a little time to focus on that down low game, the dirty buckets, rebounds, dunks, like you said, stuff you can get high percentage, because clearly living and dying by the three. Sounds like you're dying by the three right about now.
But not too many dunks. I think we've seen that. I love the alley-oop, but once you get a few too many of those, then you kind of get off your game a little bit. So
maybe it gets in your head or something.
Layups, they're not too pretty, but it's
Bird laid it in like a real man. So we'll see stuff like that. Yeah. We'll see what happens with the basketball team. They have shown a lot of upside, but Jesse Morgan is a big hurt, and they're really going to need someone to step up down low. So now we're going to switch over to hockey. UMass hockey been playing good as of late, but they're facing a problem that they've been facing recently, which is that they're at a crossroads of who to really be playing at net between Masterliz and Boyle. They've both shown that they're good D1 hockey goalies, but it's hard to go back and forth so much and really get one in a steady groove. So Jesse, I'll start with you. Who do you think should play in net for the Minutemen?
Well, you talked about how both goalies have shown that they can be pretty effective in the net, but the real problem is they can be pretty inconsistent. I mean, you look at Boyle, he had that long stretch of starting the games in the net for UMass, and then recently, he had a horrible series against Colgate, struggled against Yale. He had a good game against Dartmouth, but then allowing 5 goals against Providence at home, it just seems like, after going that long stretch, you just start to come off the rails or something like that. Mastlers comes in. He's played the past 4 games, all road games, and he's only given up 2 or 3 goals in every single one of those games, including a game against BC. So, I think that right now the 2-goalie system is what's best for these 2 guys because, like I said, Boyle went in for that big stretch, and then all of a sudden he started giving up a lot of goals. And so I think when you have these 2 guys who are both, as you said, effective goalies, one's doing well, you put him in, then he starts to play bad, you put the other guy in. It just works pretty effectively.
Earn your job, essentially.
Exactly.
Okay, well, Rob, do you agree? Do you think this 2-goalie thing is working, or do you think one of these guys deserves majority of the time?
I definitely agree. You got to give your guy a break once in a while, but once you start moving your guys around, you start getting in their head. You don't know what nights you're going to play, and if you're Boyle and you think you earned the job, you played good in a few of the games. You beat number 8 team in the nation, the number 9 team in the nation, a few other quality wins. I think you start to deserve that win. I know Mastlers had played in 2 of the BC games, and he came out with a win. So obviously he's proved himself as a good goalie as well. But I think it's definitely hard to be in net and not know what nights you're going to get the call. If Coach Micheletto is going to switch it up every game. It's hard to get into a groove, and maybe it plays a little sports psychology in there too. You never feel safe with your job even if you're playing well. So. I kind of wish that they would kind of stick more with Boyle. I know towards the beginning of the season he had some of the best stats in the nation, smaller sample size, but to me he looked like the guy that deserves the nod in net. So I definitely lean towards letting Boyle get a few of the bigger starts and maybe let Masterliz come in to let him get a rest on some of the smaller nights.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying with the getting them in a groove, because if, like Jesse, like you said, if you just take them out every time they have a struggling game, then there's no way to have a goalie build confidence ever. If he knows their goalie doesn't have the faith in them, or that their coach, doesn't have the trust in them to continue even after a bad game, it's hard to create a constant set tone for your team, always switching up the goalie. So Jim.
That's a good point that you guys are making, but neither goalie has really proven themselves. Like Rob said, Boyle did really good for a while, and frankly, I thought they should have run with him back early in the season when he was doing so well, and they did for a while, but now he's starting to struggle. So neither goalie has really proven themselves as the standalone starter, I think, just yet. So I think having them work for their job can also have positive psychological effects. It makes you really want to work harder and earn the position. And so I think at present moment, until either one of them really steps up, I think the dual goalie system is the best way to go. It worked for the Bruins.
It's true. It did work for the Bruins. Well, we'll see how that works out. We'll see if one of them steps up. We'll see how it plays out with the team. Should be interesting to stick with. Jesse, Rob, thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and tune in next week. We'll be back same time.